And leaders in Karamoja question NGOs' priorities. And in sports, we'll be taking a look at the Federation of International Gymnastics promising to help Uganda grow. Thank you for joining us. We now give you the news in detail. Now, government has assured the general public and in Greater Masaka, particularly of total security. The Minister for Information and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, said this while briefing the media about the security situation in Masaka and other national issues.
Calm is slowly returning to Masaka across the region. Though there is necessary fear and tension, no incident has been registered in the last 4 days across the entire Masaka stretch.
That the situation continues to improve and there is no cause for alarm, especially for the population in the greater Masaka area. The security and intelligence in the ground, working with the people to ensure that they get to the bottom of the matter, but also all those behind this, whether it's those who are directly causing the murders or those behind them, will be known and will be brought to book.
Information and Communication Minister Dr. Chris Baryomunsi advises all Ugandans to remain vigilant, alert, and not to act in fear.
We would want to request the population not to panic because of those leaflets. If they find that kind of information or saturating messages, let the people alert the leaders and the police, and then those who are saturating those leaflets will be apprehended.
He also advises those summoned by police in regards to the Masaka murders to cooperate with the investigators.
I want to confirm that they were summoned, and my advice would be they should honor the summons and interface with the police and answer any questions which may want clarification. Because the public has been challenging the police and the state to act. And of course, in the course of investigations, if our operatives, our security, our intelligence lands on any information, they have to process it. If, for instance, the people who are arrested say Baryomunsi is involved in one way or the other, police will call me and say, the suspect has said, you did this, and then I will answer the questions.
Baryomunsi also disclosed that the Vice-Chancellor Victoria University, Dr. Muganga, has been set free following the recent arrest.
And unless a suspect is resisting arrest or is violent at the time of arrest, there is no need whatsoever for the arresting officers to create scenes and arrest somebody in a humiliating manner. So they should remain civilized when they are arresting an individual.
Government also acknowledges that the vaccination effort is to be fast-tracked with the importation of more vaccine doses.
Even tomorrow, the Minister of Health, I think, will be receiving about 648,000 doses of Moderna. So, like we've been receiving, but beginning this month of September, going into October, November, we are going to be receiving many more doses.
Dr. Baryomunsi also made a clarification about the debate of the do's and don'ts of incoming travelers, especially through Entebbe Airport.
We don't want to pick other variants through these travelers. So the story which was saying government has suspended the testing of incoming travelers for 2 weeks was false. The 2 weeks came in because the committee which was handling said, let's give ourselves 2 weeks. We go to the airport, we visit, we assess the preparedness, we see any gaps and we close them, and then that decision will be finalized of expanding and testing whoever is coming into the country.
Robert Onyango, UBC.
In another development, calm is back in Masaka after government seems to have cornered machete-wielding criminals that have been causing havoc in the area. The veterans in Bunyere village in Luengo district have asked police to work with them to revive neighborhood watch systems to boost area security and curb crime. The area veterans also want to be rearmed to defend their areas against murders.
Mugera Robert, a resident of Bunyere village in Luengo district, lost his 42-year-old brother, Mayanja Peter, who was killed by machete-wielding attackers in August 2021. The remains of Robert, who was commonly known as Yeye, are buried at the ancestral home in Bunyere village.
Era nga yasobola okukola obusente bwe nali nkyasobola okulabako ng'abumpa ng'ayagala nnyo tuzimbe ennyumba eyo gy'olaba n'ekikoze bubi nnyo agenza okufa nga ennyumba etagyebaseemu tagirabye nako nti ennyumba eyimiriddewo.
The incident prompted locals to strengthen their own security through night foot patrols with the help of Uganda Police Force.
Kati tefa abakyala babeera baagala tubaweeyo kasenta basula batambula akanakuuma nabo ke banafunako akokulya ekiro.
Though they believe there is still a gap in patrolling villages.
Bo basirikale bayita ku luguudo kati jolo lumulo kale bakyamako mu kyalo kino ky'Ebunyeri.
But I feel that basically as we always guide them that they should always get in touch with the nearest police or police force for reinforcement and I think for communication purposes.
One of the veteran officers who preferred secrecy wants police to arm them so as they can deal with the criminals in the area.
Mukutiyamba kwaffe batukwase emungu arayivunga polisi tuli nayo oba si ekyo polisi nga bigiremedde tukwase bitulekere.
They can still come and harmonize that. On top of that, I think the DPC, the district police commander of that particular unit or district can be positioned to give guidance.
Singa abantu tufuna abantu abo ne babawe emundu ne basobola otukuuma nga naffe tutambula nabo twandizeemu amaanyi.
So they are most welcome and they can team up with the area policing for harmonization.
The attackers previously targeted the elderly, who are poor and staying in isolated homes where the police could not easily reach. Currently, there is a sigh of relief in Greater Masaka, where some machete-wielding attackers have been arrested, arraigned in court, while others are still on the hunt. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News in Luengo District.
Guns to civilians. I wonder what the law says about that. Anyway, moving on. State Minister for Economic Monitoring, Peter Ogwang, has urged Masaka regional RDCs to effectively monitor government programs and involve themselves in the fight against corruption. The minister was meeting the RDCs from 9 districts of Greater Masaka at Hotel Brevard. They are currently undergoing capacity building training on security issues as enshrined in their work. The minister says many RDCs are reluctant to perfect their job and asked them to monitor projects within their district. He also advised the people of this region to work hand in hand with security to see how they can manage the problem of insecurity. Kalungu RDC Miriam Hadiga Mojisha asked that the ministry in charge of presidency to provide them with iPads to ease their work. This is the last day the RDCs are in Masaka on issues of security.
Tell me, like I told the president of the country, I am going to work closely with the resident district commissioners who are the field officers to identify, evaluate on the performance of most of the government programs, and I'm reassured them their offices are constitutional. They must help us fast track the implementation of those projects. Most times there's delay in the implementation of the projects of government, and sometimes they overlap the timeline, the periods have been given. They have, of course, not told me openly. Most chief administrative officers don't give them the required information, which I've told them I'm going to address that directly to the Minister of Local Government, but also within the presidency, they are going to write to the PSST the information required. If you look at Article 203, 3A of the Constitution, it gives us these powers to monitor both central government and local government. So there's no way why an RDC should be denied information on as far as projects are concerned.
We don't use our phones here. The messages, the networks are always up and down. But when we put those data collections, I for one, I design one. She's my witness. What you are talking about, I design it. But sometimes when you are taking on that, they say, madam, today there is no bomb.
Project getting being violated. Right. If we put it in writing, such a project, they are beginning to make adjustment to it. Please, can you help us carry out and I can direct a forensic audit to be undertaken in that project. Are you getting me? Right.
The Minister for Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Judith Nabakova, has revealed that government is moving in to regulate the real estate industry in order to offer reasonable services to Ugandans, especially in the housing sector. Now, Nabakova says that the current gaps in the real estate regulations have seen many Ugandans suffer at the hands of quack dealers. This was at an event at Real Estate Institute of East Africa in Kampala.
As the demand for convenient housing facilities among Ugandans shoot up, the real estate industry is overwhelmed by a high demand.
The real estate market is driven by demand and supply.
However, besides substandard housing sector, lack of professionalism in the industry seems to be a future threat to the country. The Minister for Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Judith Nabakova, says regulating the industry must be prioritized.
I've been grappling about the issue of real estate. Of course, we are fast tracking the bill for real estate management and development to make sure that at least the industry is regulated, which is very key to us in the ministry.
According to Nabakova, the current gaps in the Real Estate Act and regulations has left many Ugandans nursing homes, as many have been smartly robbed.
We have faced a few challenges here and there because of the blockers. And we could be blaming them, but they have just entered the industry without understanding the do's and don'ts. So they end up messing families at times, buying family land when the families have not agreed. We have seen some in prisons. We have seen others evicting people. But through this institute, we believe that we shall achieve the professionalism we are desiring. And with the laws in place, once enacted and passed by Parliament, then we will be good to go.
Though National Housing is a government real estate entity, government is otherwise seeking for other sector players to come on board, especially those who can offer cheap and conducive housing systems for Ugandans, especially government workers.
And once we have engaged a number of them, we will be in position probably to take a paper to cabinet. Because when they talk about 2.4 million deficit of houses in the country, to me, it's a huge deficit. And remember, even some of the houses we call houses, they are substandard.
Nabakova was presiding over a certificates award ceremony for real estate practitioners from Real Estate Institute of East Africa in Kampala.
Because we have seen the many problems faced by real estate practitioners, and the problems that are faced are caused majorly by real estate agents. So it's high time they got regulated so that at least they do this work professionally.
Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Furthermore, the Minister of State for Information, Communication and Technology in charge of national guidance, Joe Godfrey Kabyaga Baluku, has challenged Arua district leaders to be honest while implementing development projects. The minister was closing a training for councillors of Arua district organized by the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance in partnership with the German-based Steve Dang Foundation.
The Minister of State for ICT City Godfrey Baluku Kabyanga has said corruption cripples development. He emphasized that combination of zero tolerance to corruption, cohesion in leadership, patriotism in respect to love for the country, economic integration and service delivery to the citizens are the 5 core issues envisioned for development.
RDC, you are the representative of the president. Don't tolerate any form of what? Corruption. Chairman, don't tolerate any form of what? Corruption. Speaker, the same at Kasara. Irrespective of whether the corrupt officer is your brother, your cousin, he should pay for it. They give us money for women empowerment, we eat the money. Youth livelihood, we eat the money. They give us money to build schools as local government, you don't build the what? You build the schools in fake what? Materials.
In a recommendation by the councillors to Minister of ICT delivered by the District Information Officer, the councillors expressed ignorance on most of their political roles that they said was addressed through the training they received and asked the ministry for training on ICT as majority of them are computer illiterate.
In the training of yesterday when the councillors were asked who is computer literate, half of the house was computer illiterate, which is really not very good in an era such as this of digital transformation. Therefore, there is need for capacity building programs and orientation for the district leadership, especially on ICT.
Arua District Chairman Alfred Okonzu and Arua District Resident Commissioner argued that lack of knowledge on responsibilities of political and technical wings of the district creates a lot of quarrels in running of the district and pledged to run the district with transparency.
We are living consciously that this district must be a model district in the heart of West Nile region. A model district.
Because many times it is true, Honorable Minister, in the districts there is that wrangle between the appointed and the elected leaders. Especially the technical people do not work really in harmony with our elected leaders. It is because many times people do not know their roles.
Arua District currently has 16 councillors.
Furthermore, leaders in Karamoja sub-region want non-government organizations' work streamlined for effective service delivery. They said that most NGOs get a lot of money on behalf of government but fail to improve people's livelihoods. This was during a meeting with the State Minister for Disaster Preparedness and Refugees, Esther Anyakum, at the Moroto Municipality Library.
Though Moroto Municipality is set to attain a city status, the hygiene of the area is still wanting. Moroto Municipality authorities, Town Clerk Uthman Sewaduka, Municipal Mayor Ismail Mohammed decried the poor hygiene perpetuated by the practice of open defecation that is akin to cholera outbreaks.
The problem is there, and this one is going to affect your office. Tomorrow we will hear we have cholera here. Tomorrow we hear people are running away from the town.
So once there is an outbreak of cholera, it will take us back. And more so, we are in the rain season.
The State Minister for Disaster Preparedness and Refugees, Esther Anyakum, now wants leaders to sensitize communities on the value of hygiene and sanitation.
You people, the leaders of this place, you have to move. What I'm doing in my district, I've been one of the health team. They are now moving village per village to do a campaign.
Annual terms and conditions on signing of Memorandum of Understanding.
To make sure that they, on onset, when they are signing an MOU with an NGO, they should be having black and white agreement what they are going to be doing to the host community of those organizations. It is just.
She also says there's need for concerted effort in addressing plastic waste management. The area mayor wants manufacturing companies to take on the burden.
To Parliament, that we should levy an environmental tax to these companies, and this tax is remitted to municipalities to manage their plastic wastes.
Relatedly, the Minister Kitutu wants NGOs' work to be directed by government, mainly in regard to capacity building, community sensitization, among others.
Because NGOs get money on behalf of government, so they should be aligned to work
under our development. And then we say, please, we need a school here, build it. If you don't want, then you can.
The municipality mayor, Ismail Mohammed, blames non-government organizations for not addressing biting issues like hygiene and sanitation, though they have access to funds.
So I would also ask through you, Mama, that we should carry an audit NGO audit in Karamoja, especially Karamoja Parliamentary Group. We don't see them. I host most of them here, but you find them flying here and there, whereas Moroto municipality is wanting. More wanting than even the rural. Yes. You find people have wash programs. Within their office area, the neighborhood, you find the hygiene and sanitation within that area is not good.
Moroto municipality is currently faced with challenges of insecurity, poverty, poor sanitation, hygiene, and famine, among others.
We now take you up north, where the European Union heads of mission to Uganda want government to restore security in the Karamoja sub-region in order to foster social and economic development. With rampant insecurity in the region, Karamoja is slowly slipping back to the past years and thus hampering developmental initiatives, warns His Excellency Attilio Pacifici, the European head of delegation to Uganda.
Insecurity challenge in Karamoja sub-region threatens to wipe out all the social and economic progress that the sub-region has registered in the recent years. According to the European Union heads of mission, Karamoja has been on a steady growth trajectory. However, the drop in guard by the security agencies has led to increased criminality, which has in the recent months led to loss of livestock, lives and hampered investment.
I believe that to ensure peace, a longer transition period in which forces are more present and close to the population might really quell a little bit of the animosity which is traditionally affecting the clans.
An investment made in education will allow not this generation, the next one, to say, all right, now maybe I have to live in a different way. Maybe I have to become a doctor, maybe I have to become an engineer, maybe I have to become a commercial farmer, because I cannot keep stealing, cow from my neighbor in order to be wealthy or to have prestige, because that is how it was many years ago.
Another major challenge facing the community is high literacy levels, a situation that has been worsened by the indefinite closure of schools due to the COVID-19 pandemic. A high number of teenage pregnancies has been registered in the last 2 years, and with no clear reopening schedule for schools, the EU ambassadors are worried.
I think it is related to the COVID-19 pandemic, of course, with the closure of schools. And again, then we're going back to education, and it underlines how important education and development in general is, especially for girls and young women, to get out of poverty.
There has been a trend that once teenagers become pregnant, they're excluded from education. So it's incredibly important that they are welcomed back into the school environment and that there is provision made for the care of their child so that they can learn and have a better future.
The EU heads of mission made this crucial observation while concluding a 5-day excursion of the Karamoja sub-region aimed at finding out the challenges facing the community and forge partnerships to address them.
What we as European Union countries, including the delegation, can offer is support. But where and in what way these answers must come from the communities here. We cannot try and solve their problems, but it's, as my Italian colleague said yesterday, we would like to help you help yourselves.
Karamoja has consistently had the lowest development indicators in the country. At 66%, the region's poverty rate is 3 times the national poverty rate of 20% and more than 30% of the capital city, Kampala. Dennis Ikoa for UBC News.
And with that, we take a short commercial break and we'll be back with more news right after these messages, so do not go away.
smile when I think of you, Uganda, my home. My home, I dance when I look at you, Uganda, my home, oh my Uganda.
I know, with you I'll always stay forever. I know, because I feel that we belong together. My home, under the sun so bright, under the moon at night, on my heart, mommy, oh my Uganda.
Hey mama,
My Uganda, my Uganda, my Uganda, my Uganda. Amari, Alemira, my Uganda,
nyoe nikugonza,
my Uganda,
amina ngojo, amina ngojo.
At MTN, we look forward to starting another exciting journey together to grow our home, Uganda.
Echa COVID-19 chijja kugwa only if we stay at home, observe physical distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly, or get vaccinated now.
Five times the happiness, yeah. 5 times the luckiness, yeah. 5 for 5, oh yeah. It's 5 for 5. 5 for 5. 5 times the money, yeah. 5 times the shopping, yeah. 5 times the prizes, yeah. 5 for 5, oh yeah. It's 5 for 5. 5 for 5.
Win 100,000 Uganda shillings weekly in the 5 for 5 jackpot. Simply download the Center mobile app. Click Center on the go to open your account online. Transact 5 times or more using Center mobile, Center Visa, and Center agent to stand a chance to win. The more you transact, the higher your chances of winning. So, participate in the 5 for 5 jackpot and win millions in daily and weekly prizes. The 5 for 5 jackpot is brought to you by Centenary Bank. Our bank, Centenary Bank, is regulated by the Bank of Uganda. Customer deposits are protected by the Deposit Protection Fund.
Getting GoTV was the best decision James has ever made. Finding a good place to watch football was never easy, but it was costly until James discovered something big. Now he can finally enjoy the benefits of homegrown advantage with a decoder and 1 month of GoTV Valley. For just 25,000 shillings, enjoy the world's biggest leagues and cap competitions. GoTV Uganda, love it.
You know, you could just buy a new smartphone from anywhere in Uganda. Dial *175 *94# to activate their 100% double data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles for 3 months. Better yet, you automatically receive free 1 GB valid for 30 days. You are hooked already, aren't you? Enjoy 100% double data bonus from Airtel. Buy a smartphone from anywhere in Uganda and insert an Airtel SIM card. Dial *175 *94# to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. Dial *175# and select your preferred bundle to activate a 100% data bonus offer on weekly or monthly bundles, valid for 3 months. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. We now bring you back to more news tonight. Now moving on, the State Minister for Local Government, Victoria Rusoke, has asked politicians in Masindi to work hand in hand no matter their political affiliation. Victoria Rusoke made these remarks while meeting Masindi leaders at Masindi Municipal Chambers, Masindi District.
The State Minister for Local Government has met with political leaders in Masindi to forge a way forward of improving of people's livelihoods. Victoria Rusoke Rusoke asked leaders to be better representatives to the people they represent and also work handy with the technical staff for development.
So the only thing I emphasize today is cohesion. Let's work together as a team. This is our municipality. We are the right people here, receiving and should be the monitors of service delivery. And for that matter, quality service delivery, not mere performance. I want to confirm to you, people of Masindi municipality, that we have awarded you a market. And on Monday, you are going to have a meeting with the consultant to agree on the designs of our new market. But that market is not coming as a decoration. The market is going to ease the work of our people to increase on their income by selling their products. So you have a very big role to work on their mindset change, to make sure they work very hard, they produce. Then when you see yourselves working very hard, you are producing for eating and selling, we shall then think of the industrial park.
Implementation and embracing government programs have been considered key in improving the livelihoods.
People must produce a lot of cassava, a lot of maize. Introduce coffee if it's not there. If it's there, make sure people plant at a large scale. We have one problem with the entire country, ladies and gentlemen, and my leaders in particular, of environment change and destruction. We are getting destruction of hailstorm more than it used to be. Why? People have encroached and settled in the wetlands. People have destroyed the wetlands. Some have planted trees in them. Some are tilling the ground up at the top of the hills, and the water is just coming uncontrollable and flooding. We never used to have floods before.
Politicians were warned against discouraging people from embracing government projects. Victoria Rusoke was informed that the COVID-19 funds were being misused with the challenge of understaffing of the Masindi Municipal Council.
As a middleman between the ministries and the local government, I only request my colleagues in the local government that we work together so that we can lobby in a common voice. And since for them they are not in Kampala most of the time, I can easily provide that linkage, that continuity, and deal with the ministries, especially the mother ministry. We can smile because for a long time, sincerely, as leaders, we have been asked several questions.
Masindi Member of Parliament Businje Joab asked government to empower the Ministry of Local Government, Ministry of Gender and Social Development with developmental projects that benefit Ugandans.
Our youth are languishing, our youth have suffered a lot. You don't know even why you produce them, you can't put them back, you can't swallow them. That's what you are lamenting. But are you changing their mindset? That yes, it's one thing to go to the university and it's another to earn a living. What's wrong with me having a university degree? And then I'm one of the seniorest farmers and earning money more than a secondary school teacher.
The resident district commissioner Masindi Rose Chirabira appreciated the gesture of the local government ministry of monitoring government programs. Sudat Kaye, UBC.
In another development, Mackay Memorial College Natete head teacher Mary Mukasa has appealed to the teachers to continue embracing the COVID-19 vaccination initiatives. She says that this will enable vaccinated teachers not be vulnerable to COVID-19 infections. During a media interview, Mukasa advised learners to remain intellectually vigilant through any available online study as they wait for school reopening.
The head teacher Mackay Memorial College, Natete Mary Mukasa, has pleaded with teachers to ensure that they are fully vaccinated so that schools can be reopened. This was during a dialogue at her office in Natete, Kampala. She asserts that government should extend the vaccination exercise to all school administrators.
I think it is the best for everybody because once our immunity has been boosted by the vaccine, we may tamper with our situations and see that we can have our learners come to us when we are not scared of being infected, or even if we are infected, it may not be severe infection.
The head teacher, who was impressed by the 2020 Uganda Certificate of Education and Uganda Advanced Certificate of Education excellent results, advised parents to ensure that all school-going children continue embracing online learning initiated by government, saying that this will keep the learners abreast with their studies.
To the students, let us utilize whatever opportunity is available to have a voice of a teacher. Listen to the radio lessons, listen and attend to the television lessons, get newspapers and work out some of the exercises, because they normally give exercise and the subsequent answers in the following edition.
Makai Memorial College Natete is among the universal secondary education schools in Kampala district. All its 2020 USCE candidates qualified with tertiary education.
In another development, 9 witnesses have testified in a case in which Lands Minister Judith Nabakova is accusing Joyce Bagala of fraudulent victory. This case is before Mubende High Court Judge Justice Baguma Emmanuel.
Chiwa obujulizi bwe mulabye bwe leero mu kooti bulaga oluvuyo lwonna lwonna olwali mu by'okulonda. Abajulizi bakijjeeyo ekituufu. Bwe tutuuse tusigazaayo ffe aba witnesses 6 era bonna enkya tujja baleeta.
Musanyufu nti abantu bange bazze ne bawa obujulizi ate bye nawa kooti era ndabanga n'ebyabo bikwatagana nti tewaliwo mazima na bwenkati.
Waliwo n'ebyekifeesi ebivudde e Kawempe ne tubagamba jjako masiki n'atya naga wezijjako masiki ne bantegeera kati biri wano naye ng'ekibaleese kulaba nga bateekawo ebyo ebitali biki
bitwaye baatuula bambe baatulako Eniro Hotel ne bapangirira n'obujulizi bonna tumaze obukubamu ebitulituli naye bw'opanga toyinza kupanga nobanga opanze ekituufu 10 ku 10.
Mu birabi abantu badde bakaaba mu kooti oba okaabira ki ng'okirabye nti ebintu byewajingirya tebikola ki biganye. Abaana badde bawa obujulizi ng'olaba abantu bafa bwe bati bagamba tufudde tokwogera bw'otyo naye nga yamaze dde okwogera kubanga bw'oba owaayiriza ne bw'okola.
This they plan to do through various interventions like the sense-making workshop for businesses and employment project, which is courtesy of the financial institution BRAC.
Unless if it's deeply rooted and bordering on a curse, the youth in Luwero district are about to wave goodbye to unemployment. A retreat at Africa Guest House in Kasana has attracted several youth that were educated about government poverty eradication programs, which however require skills to provide gainful employment.
Most of the youth in Luwero are not employed. The reason being that most of the youths are lacking skills. Here you can find a factory in a certain district looking for the youths to work on that very factory, but when there's no skilling. So my prayer to the government, the government should improve in skilling of the youths such that they get employed.
The training was enabled by financial institution BRAC Uganda, which is partnering with the United Nations Development Programme to execute a 5-year Youth for Business and Employment project.
These youths, we divided them into different groups, and each group had a representative from the district. And in depth, the challenges of unemployment among youths were handled in depth. What is really down there at the grassroots? What is happening? And what do they think is the solution to this unemployment? Such that they themselves that stay on the ground, that face this unemployment, the parents that stay with the youths, the leaders that stay with these youths, bring out these challenges that are tangible, and the methodology helped us to involve every party from the grassroots to the leaders. Everybody participated, and it was really a productive workshop.
The youth cited lack of economic empowerment, lack of collateral, lack of adequate skills, and being given small percentages of the monies released for economic empowerment.
The State Minister for Bunyoro Affairs, Jennifer Namuyango, has promised to follow up and ensure that those who missed out on the COVID-19 relief cash get. This was at a meeting where Hoima City Deputy Mayor Sylvia Narumaga told the minister that 114 people missed out on the recent relief funds.
The minister visited Hoima City to investigate if the guidelines were followed during the registration of the beneficiaries. According to Narumaga, the city registered about 20,000 people, but their target was about 9,460. She noted that 114 people missed because of mismatching information in their particulars.
Akabamu ekizibu kya amabara nti gakwataganaga nosanga ola kuhandikisa essimu nakolese nangamuntu y'omuntu ondi ate nangamuntu n'ebibala lye nosanga bitakwatagana abandi n'empandiika yabagambi nosanga kuhandiika enamba buno mukaaga gusomeremu ki 8 abandi nosanga ebikumubazaho tibikwatagana nebiri handangamuntu ate amabala ago nigo gayangirwe rundi nigo garejectingirwe kyonka tugayina record zona zikagaruka amabala abafunire bona tubayina.
Minister Namuyango has promised to table the list of those who missed out to the Ministry of Gender to ensure that they can be considered.
So I want to appeal to our people next time to be cautious. When you are registering for the national ID, it's better to give your real names, but also to put information that will not contradict what should be on your phone. Not even also to use other people's names to register for a phone line. This is a lesson that our people should pick.
The Hoima Resident City Commissioner, Samuel Chisembo, says the method used in identifying the beneficiaries was appropriate compared to that of supplying food.
No fuel, nothing. The lorry would come, I don't know where you come, pick your portion. You put in the store, I must mobilize pickups, I must mobilize fuel. We must put security because every morning by 7, people are already at the office. So I had to identify another space to hide the portion. Otherwise, we were fearing people to break in the offices and take the portion and all that. So it was costly on our part because we had to use our own resources most times to fuel the cars, to facilitate security.
On the overall, people are saying for even the other programs, the cash transfer is more effective and more efficient.
The anxiety that COVID-19 presented us with has led many people into being innovative and more cautious. This has been witnessed at the launch of the Stress-Free Investment Club, which has already entered more than 500 members. Each member is required to save 2,000 shillings per day to help inculcate a savings culture amongst the public, and the project has already, in a short while, registered millions of shillings.
Stress-Free Investment Club open. And the Stress-Free Investment Club has a very interesting motto.
Of course, first of all, this is a COVID baby. A COVID baby means that we had to use everything virtual. But I want to assure you, when you're good out there, people will team up to make your work easier. Of course, we had to take up the IT and make sure that we get somebody to do our IT. We had to make sure we train people, especially how to use the DFC Investment Club app, which was very difficult at hand. Even now, we're struggling with members to get onto our website and be able to log in. Our website is www.sfic-ug.com. But in this manner, once you're set and you're determined to help people, show your members what you're so good to do, it becomes easy. So it made my life easy because I was very patient. And when you start something out of compassion, definitely, when you're passionate about something, you don't have any challenges. So I am happy that I was very passionate with what I started, and I would tell you that the challenges were less. They are there, but like any other thing that starts. Of course, mistrust of members, somebody may not trust you, but if you see somebody who cannot trust you, don't go for them. Go for members who have already trusted you. They will join you.
Well, today is the 4th of September 2021, but it's now time to take a look at what happened on this day in history.
Today in history.
On 4th September 2019, people gathered outside Parliament in Cape Town to address gender-based violence in South Africa. The protesters were angry, some demanding the government to bring back the death penalty towards a man who raped and killed a student from the University of Cape Town.
Echa COVID-19 chijja kugwa only if we stay at home, observe physical distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly, or get vaccinated now.
Welcome back. You're still watching the UBC News Tonight, broadcasting live from Nile Avenue. We now take you to the world of business. The High Court in Kampala has temporarily halted any further development or activity on the Semiliki Walk Road folio of 33 Plot 2 located in Kampala Central. This injunction has been issued by Justice Ziruntusa Chintu following a suit by Ivan Biaruhanga working on behalf of Ntaganda.
But on what basis are all of you police here?
Landirangos between one Ephraim Ntaganda and Damin Group Limited has taken another twist following High Court's intervention. Though this is a matter which has already been addressed by the High Court and a status quo court order and a suit issued in favor of the initial leaseholder, Damin Group Limited, a fresh court order has been issued.
We agreed inter party that the status of the property is maintained as is. Each of the parties should remain where they are. No development should be done on the property, and that none of the parties should have any activity on the land.
This Friday, lawyers of the concerned parties have engaged the High Court to forge a way forward.
So this being an interim application order, we shall wait for the main application that is going to come up on the 14th.
The issue came to the limelight last Sunday when demolitions and vandalism of properties at the contested land occurred.
Okay, there's no policeman who is intimidating you.
But on what instruction are you here to do what? Keep whose peace? Who filed the complaint?
We are maintaining the status quo as it is.
As properties were destroyed, tenants now want court to direct for fair and timely compensation.
In the event that any of the parties breaches the terms of the order, then the aggrieved party will go to court for what they call contempt proceedings to punish that party who has gone against certain order.
The matter is now set for this month on 14th for the initial hearing are accepted on the premises, and police is directed to offer full protection. Nantong Rebecca, UBC News.
Now, in a bid to enhance literacy levels and conservation outreach in Uganda, has partnered with Uganda Wildlife Conservation Education Center to set up a library in Entebbe. They have also rolled out 50 mobile libraries for school-going children living on the islands of Lake Victoria.
Chimpanzees are like humans. Chimpanzees share over 98.7% of human DNA.
Uganda Wildlife Conservation Education Center and Books for Development have partnered to add value to the conservation gem by setting up a library. The two are to address the book scarcity at the center and the islands by setting up libraries, community schools, through use of donations from volunteers. The president of Books for Development, Mark Cotham, says opening a conservation and education library is like planting and growing a tree.
Now, the fruit of a library is improved knowledge and productive minds, and that's ultimately what we're looking for. But if we simply have the books in there and we lock them away, they become termite food, nothing more. And so books are only good if they are used, if they are read. So part of the care of any library is the encouragement in its use. We have to get children, we have to get adults interested in using the library.
The Executive Director, UWEC, Dr. James Musinguzi, supports efforts aimed at improving the development and self-confidence of children through reading. He thanked Books for Development for the donation and the initiative to establish 50 mobile libraries across Uganda as a way of promoting the book reading culture.
And this facility will improve on facts. We have volunteers here. We don't want them to convey information which is not factual. Information which is disjointed. Please let us use this library. All of us here. Especially that we are in a conservation education institution. We have a poor culture in this country. People don't want to read what? Books.
They capped this by signing a memorandum of understanding aimed at facilitating the work between the two institutions.
I would like to Conservation Education Center. I would like to declare this library open and most sincerely thank Books for Development.
The head of conservation education at UWEC, David Musingo, says the current setup will help the sector perform better.
Most of our community members don't appreciate this relationship. Why do I need a plant? Why do I need an animal? So that the ecosystem can be complete, and then we promote the one plan approach of coexistence. Very, very critical. And this can only be done through education, which is the greatest tool you can choose. You can use to change the world, as alluded to by Nelson Mandela.
UWEC appreciated Books for Development for the support that aims at propping up the youth, improve their reading skills.
And now on the international scene, fresh fighting has been reported in Afghanistan's Panjshir Valley, the final pocket of the territory which remains out of the hands of the Taliban. One of the resistant leaders in the valley, Amrullah Saleh, dismissed reports that the Taliban had captured it as baseless. But he admitted conditions are difficult, with the Taliban closing phone, internet and electricity lines. The fighting comes with the Taliban set to finalize a government. Panjshir Valley, north of the capital Kabul, is one of Afghanistan's smallest provinces and the only one not to have fallen to the Taliban. The traditional anti-Taliban stronghold is home to somewhere between 150,000 and 200,000 people and is hidden behind mountain peaks. The resistance, which includes the former Afghan security force members and local militias, is led by local tribal leader Ahmad Massoud. His father successfully fought the Soviets, who invaded in the 1980s, and the Taliban in the 1990s.
They began shortly after the last US troops.
And now in the world of sports, a new football tournament has been launched in Lango sub-region. Nebu Independent Football Tournament, a community-based not-for-profit organization, aims at serving the community through sports. The program seeks to become the most recognized community-based amateur sports competition organized body that engages all community members through sports.
In December 2020, the United Nations General Assembly called on member states to include sports and physical activities in their post-COVID-19 recovery plans as an enabler to sustainable development. But in Uganda, sports is ingrained in the social fabrics of the society. If you tour the country, it is not uncommon to find children playing football with a plastic bottles or girls playing dodgeball, innovatively made locally from home. Talented youth would engage in a bit of sports at the lower levels and would later drop off due to several factors, including lack of financial support, poor skills development, and a non-existent accountability system to track talents. Aaron Nalal, the CEO of Northern Region Football Association, says the development of football in the country needs to be tackled from the grassroots level.
You see, the growth and development of football is not a one man's responsibility, not a region or FUF alone. It is a collective responsibility, both the internal stakeholders and then the external stakeholders.
But now for us, we try up to district level. Then when they try national, that is when our hands can support. And thereafter, we close our hands because of finance.
It is against this backdrop that NIFT, a football tournament launched by the mayor of Lira City, Samatul, sought to contribute to the development of sports in the region.
So it's incumbent upon us now as leaders to bring in partners, like this one was come, to coordinate with them, to see which area you're picking. If this one is in football, then we can work around to look at who is going to take up the other discipline.
So NIFT has come at the right time to make sure that all the talents on the grassroots are identified first of all, they are nurtured and exposed to the part of the world so that they can also benefit from that particular case.
The program is also aimed to help the post-conflict communities recover from the trauma and depression resulting from the previous LRA war and COVID-19 containment effects.
We know that there are so many other cascading effects of sports for the development of a country as well. But as individuals, we know that the shattered social fabrics of every person in our country, particularly in our region of Lao sub-region, that people who have been living under lockdown for such a long time, once they come out, they will be looking out for something that they can do to bring back their social excitement and let things go back to the way they used to be. And as NIFT continues to carry out all its competitions and tournaments within these communities, every year NIFT expands to carry out its activities in a much larger NIFT catchment area.
Shall be rectified, yeah?
Lira City Mayor Samatul says the city has similar arrangement but only constrained by the resources.
Town used to have more than 3-4 football clubs, but now you hardly talk of any one serious club. So just for football, you'll just know that we are not doing that.
NIFT's concept brings together all the district local governments and clans in Lao sub-region to participate in the tournament as local sponsors. Ediolwa, UBC News.
The Altona British School Kampala Swimming League has continued with action at the British School.
For a championship started this year, the Altona British School of Kampala Swimming League has taken giant strides with increased number of participants matched by high levels of competition. This league is a rare first in Uganda's swimming history with only 2 teams, Talons and Colts, in the competition and cash prizes set aside for excellence. It's contested in editions of which 9 are expected, with each of the 4 participants like Tara Kisauzi, Paula Nabukera, Abigail Mwagale and Sonia Mwere believe decision to opt for swimming and especially such competition is unrivaled.
Actually, swimming helped me. It hasn't changed. Okay, yes. Helped me cut weight, and then also like swimming can get me scholarships when I go somewhere else. And then I want to go for Olympics in the next Olympics, God willing.
The nature of swimming as a sport in Uganda involves parents who acknowledge relevance of the sport to their children's growth.
My son, my daughter, there is one and another one here, but the 2 big guys, they swim prolifically, and that has helped with discipline, being able to listen to a coach, learning something that's totally new. Those are all skills that you can take anywhere. Learning new things, being competitive, learning from the people you compete with, and discipline, the discipline that you get from doing sports, learning the skill. Every stroke of swimming requires a different type of muscle movement. Being able to control all that helps you in future.
As it stands in the league, Talons lead the overall standings on 2,307 points, while Team Colts trail by just 165. John Barnes, Sentama, reporting.
Quite exciting to see, the excitement on the kids' faces. Seeing them swim, that's beautiful. I miss it too. Anyhow, visiting Federation of International Gymnastics Federation Development Officer for Africa, Seko, Uganda's passion towards the sport. He promises to ensure that it meets the requisite standards to compete at all top levels.
The future of gymnastic sport in Uganda that in the not-so-distant past seemed to be in limbo has all of a sudden been resuscitated. This follows the local federation leadership interventions, including targeting of thorough grassroots development. This has been helped further by inclusion of the sport on the education curriculum. At the top, the local federation has continued indulging partners like the international body that has sent its development officer for Africa, Mogosi Seko.
With my initial assessment of the situation, I've realized that there's three basic things that need to be done to help with the development of gymnastics. One is the technical support for coaching and judging, coaching in particular. So in order to answer this one particular aspect, we've actually arranged already for a course which will come in the next month, where we're going to give technical training for coaching, in particularly in tumbling and aerobic, and some fundamental movement skills. The other point that we saw is necessary is support in administration. Being a young federation, the Gymnastics Association needs a lot of support to be able to establish the foundation for the sport. So we're hoping that from a local perspective with the government structures and other stakeholders, they will be able to help to give this support so that we can implement the sport. And the third one is equipment.
And ahead, Harriet Aya believes that with availability of basics like infrastructure and funding, the sport in Uganda will flourish.
His coming here is because as Uganda we have, of course, at the moment our struggles to do with funding of sports. And so when we reached out to FIG, we were very blessed to have the mother body send us the development officer for Africa, our continent, and is right here to help us implement the best realistic programs that can work best for our federation.
During his stay in Uganda, Seko Mogosi has held meetings with high-ranking sports officials at the National Council Olympic Committee. John Burns, Centum, reporting.
Well, and that brings us to the end of our News Tonight edition this evening. Thank you for being a very lovely audience. My name is Badulo Mark Arnold Mugalu Mohammed. On sign language from the team, allow us to say, have yourselves a lovely weekend.
UBC once again, Samili with your weather update. We are still seeing isolated thunder showers in most parts of the country, mainly the northern and some parts of the lake showers. And due to that, we had the highest of 20.1 millimeters of rainfall across Chitugumu, Mubende with 16 millimeters. Seeing the satellite picture, we're having a rainbow hovering over us, combined with the moist winds blowing from Congo airmass towards our country, enhanced with the local effects, bring us the weather that we're experiencing lately. Tomorrow morning, though, we expect to wake up with light showers at 80 degrees Celsius across Karamoja regions, 29 in Sowoti, 27 parts of the north and the capital city, Kampala, the lowest across Kabale with 23 degrees Celsius. US moving out of our country, touring the world. Still, we are forecasting light showers across New York and Dar es Salaam with a highest of 31 degrees Celsius. London and Brussels with sunny intervals. Pre-hold, though, across Dubai with a maximum of 41 degrees Celsius. Thanks for tuning on UBC. I remain Samili. Stay tuned and see you tomorrow.
Ekya COVID-19 kijja kuggwa only if we stay at home, observe physical distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly, or get vaccinated now.
Getting GoTV was the best decision James has ever made. Finding a good place to watch football was never easy, but it was costly. James discovered something big. Now you can finally enjoy the benefits of home ground advantage with a decoder and 1 month of GoTV Valley. For just 25,000 shillings, enjoy the world's biggest leagues and cap competitions. GoTV Uganda, love it.
This is EFC. The official rules of the hexagon. 3 judges score the bout. Each bout consists of 3 5-minute rounds. The winner of each round gains 10 points, 9 or less. This is based on striking, grappling, effective aggression, and hexagon.